Bungalow Bill here. It's been a while, hasn't it? I feel like it's been about a month since I've been in the Livewood Neater campaign. And, well, we'll say that it's because my life has been very engaging and stimulating, and not because I've been spending way too much time making a very big battleship, as well as rediscovering Magic the Gathering Arena and playing Kamigawa drafts. No, instead it's been, my stimulating lifestyle. Now, since it's been so long, let's take a look at let's take a look at the strategic map and go over where I am, as well as maybe a few objectives. So, we are currently allied with the Twin Guard. We have pushed heavily into the Lightning Hood territory, within spitting distance of the Quartzstone Fortress, so hopefully we will be getting in there fairly soon. So this episode, I'm very much hoping to destroy our capitalist oppressors, the Lightning Hoods, and show them the physical and moral superiority of the command economy, which both provides us with overwhelming military power, as well as a superior quality of life for all of the citizens of my country. Those, of course, being myself, first citizen, and no one else. There are no more citizens. In addition, I'm going to start building, as soon as I can at least, I'm going to start building a railgun, as well as some better fuel engines in preparation for a future build. Alright, I have spawned in a few of my craft, and I believe they're, to some extent, slightly misnamed, because the depth first searches are... These are all flood fills, despite the names. The flood fill being my anti-surface submarine. What'll be interesting here is whether or not I can take out flyers with them. I didn't bring in the Incredible Husks, and we have a large number of very small craft from the Lightning Hoods. So we'll have to see if we can actually take any of them out. I might have to abandon this and bring in some of the Husks, which have lasers on them now, I hope, that we'll be able to take these enemies out. We've taken a small amount of laser damage while we're above the surface. And we're currently achieving hits with our Sea-Wiz. That, in of itself, will not provide us with a huge amount of damage, although for submarines where the Sea-Wiz is quite a lot. However, if these large missiles can achieve hits, which on smooth water against steady craft, their target prediction guidance should be fairly successful, they should achieve some fairly hefty hits. Against enemies that go underwater, we're going to be down to our Sea-Wiz only, but that's okay. Our Sea-Wiz will take care of them, and we should have better accuracy. Those need to be untowed cables. Those are our radar buoys. Anyway, we'll achieve better accuracy against enemies in the water because we have a lot of sonar. However, these are, despite their not massive length, those are some pretty powerful large missiles, and we're really just seeing the weaknesses of the Lightning Hoods, who are completely incapable of killing anything that's gone into the water. Cool looking craft, though. I'm pretty sure this is a laser turret, despite having particle accelerator cannon barrels pieces on it. Kinda cool, though. Yeah, I need to get rid of that green text on the side, but we'll check damage, which so far is pretty good. Take in a little bit more damage. We have effectively no armor, so there is actually the possibility that laser chip damage through the water will kill us, because this is not... I can't wait for those camera changes. This actually isn't a huge amount of depth. Also, we might kill ourselves with our Sea-Wiz at some point. There's no firing restriction, so they're entirely reliant on failsafe. Now, supercavitation base rounds do not get rid of all slowdown in the water, just 90% of it, as far as I'm aware. So despite the fact that they take 75% of the firepower of high explosive right off the top. I still find it's a reasonably effective way of doing things because you lose a lot of armor pierce with kinetic rounds using them underwater if it's over any distance. I believe that's it. Excellent. Now we can pull our submarine fleet back. I believe the AWSs will be able to heal them and bring them out as a push forwards. I'm giving them a little bit of time to react by going through slowly, so we'll at least fight their vehicles and they might spawn one or two more big ones. I do love the smell of cram cannons in the morning. The Fulgurites really can't productively do damage to the Husks. If the Husks didn't have lambs, they would get absolutely shredded. But a barrage of small missiles is not going to get through lambs of this magnitude. And we have missiles interceptors as well, I think. Oh, no, I never put them on. Okay, well, we just have lambs, but the lambs should be good enough, and I just really wanted to see those cram cannon barrages. It's just a Fulgurite, so it's not like it was going to be an incredibly difficult battle or anything. Yeah, that's annoying. We're going to turn the HUD off for that. Here we meet the Lightning Hoods for what will likely be the last time. We meet them on the Battle Place of Ideas, the place where we can both speak the only language that these capitalist pigs will understand, and that language is violence. So let's go and kill them. At first, we're taking down this fearful, fearful opponent. I assume that they intend to either ram us or drop cargo containers full of materials on us, because I can't really imagine them doing much else. I feel like this is not what the camera is supposed to be doing currently. Let me get back in there for a second. Yep, camera changes cannot come soon enough. So the Lightning Hoods have been busy building up their mercantile fleet. Not so busy making units that are actually going to be terribly scary. One of the most worrying things that could happen is that one of our ships could be inside the Quartzstone Fortress when it decides to spawn in. It's probably its primary method of damage. The laser strength on it isn't so strong, and they were about to be able to build another Exodine, which is what they've been waiting for, and they just built another conduit instead, and that pushed them under the materials that would let them build an Exodine. And they already had surplus cargo ships sitting around. I think that these occasional lag spikes are something campaign related. I still have mild performance regressions outside the campaign, but inside the campaign I have these stutters that are far worse than in the designer mode. And I don't really know why. I also have to deal with it while I'm building, which is kind of annoying. Probably not quite as annoying for you on 2x speed when I'm building, but still not great. Part of the reason it's annoying for me when building is when you have lag spikes. When building, you have a tendency for the camera to move the wrong number of blocks and that sort of thing. Check our damage numbers. Look pretty good. A lot of kinetic damage from our Sea-Wiz and our missiles. Ramp cannons, not so much, but haven't had a lot of big meaty targets to shoot at. I have to see what the white flares have for us, because the white flares are the ones who have the golden trench. Oh, big lag spike. Probably the Quartzstone Fortress coming in. That's a lot of blocks all at once. That's pretty much all that they have left, I think. We'll burn down these little nuggets pretty quickly. I don't remember what they're actually called. I'm calling them nuggets because I've been watching too many of DankPod's videos on YouTube. And, you know, it wouldn't be that surprising to me if there's some sort of MP3 player or something that the Lightning Hoods have developed. I don't know what else they could possibly be good for. Hopefully those cram shells exploded, because I did not see any explosions. How's our fleet holding up? We have not taken any appreciable damage. It is very suddenly much darker than it was before. We have the same lamb's color as or the same laser color as the Quartzstone Fortress does lambs, which is not optimal for telling what's going on. I did want to change it to something that looks cooler, but I never did. Time's really of the essence for me, and I have a bunch of stuff that I want to build. I don't know what it's going to be, but because you can't really tell where I am between the two segments that I'm doing, the building and the combat. Right now, I'm still building a turret, and I'm not sure what I'm going to use it for. It's either going to be a hover tank or a battleship. Probably a battleship. Maybe I'll make a giant water skimming battleship. No, I don't want to lose a capital ship because it ran into an island. The water skimmers can stay for the small craft that I can accept losing. Is it shooting submarines, or do we have a... Okay, we do have a water skimmer there. It wasn't shooting a submarine. It looks like it doesn't have enough elevation to fight back against me. That's actually really useful to know. It's hard to tell because it's so dark. If memory serves, the Quartzstone Fortress does carry torpedoes. I could be mistaking that for the Gorgon, which also carries torpedoes. For some reason, I thought the Quartzstone Fortress did as well, though. In which case, it would be able to fight back against my submarines, but my submarines have a lot of countermeasures. However, I must have been mistaken because I don't see any anti-missile damage in the top right. So, yeah, no torpedoes on this. It's hard to remember. There's a lot of vehicles in From the Depths, and a lot of them I don't play against very often. And of course, I just want there to be more vehicles in From the Depths. Make my burden even higher. I'm going to be interested to take a look at the White Flare's melee planes when they come in. I was under the impression... Yeah, we need inertial fuses on those shells. Those crime shells just lost so much damage because they bounced and then exploded. I think that's a problem I've been having a lot, the fact that I only set timed fuses on them. I should either take the timed fuses off and make it inertial only, because HE crams just don't do that much if they miss, compared to frag, where you sometimes get a lot of damage. Or I should just make them lose another 10% health. On easy difficulty, we're not fighting that many craft with lambs on them. We fired that barrage from too far away. Okay, well that explains that. I've just never gotten around to it. It's a really easy change, but then I'd have to retrofit all of them, and kind of a pain. And you know, they're working well enough. You know, like, it's the reason that my sink in the bathroom has been draining well enough since I moved into my apartment. It's not like I don't know what the problem is, it's just that I haven't fixed it. In that case, I know that the trap under the sink is full. And I just take the toilet plunger and plunge the sink, like, once a month or so, and it forces a little bit of the stuff in the trap down the pipe, and it'll start draining again. But not quite as well as it could. What I should do is put a bucket under it, take the gooseneck off, clean it out, put it back together. It'll take me like 30 minutes, just because, you know, you have to set up, fumble around a little bit, find all the tools that you need, and then clean up afterwards. But it's gonna be really gross. Not looking forward to it. You know, if I owned the place, I would have already done it. But for an apartment, well, I don't really feel that kind of attachment. And really, that's the sort of thing that I have here, because, you know, I sort of view these vehicles as leases. But once this campaign is over, I'm probably never using these vehicles again, because they're not very good, and I'm not even putting them up on the workshop. I'm still working on vehicles that I'm putting up on the workshop. I really want to make a White Flares inspired ramming boat, but I started building a giant Onyx Watch fan build that I've been working on for like a month now instead, even though I told myself I'd start building small again. So probably put a picture of that in the intro. It's probably going to be like 2 more weeks before I have it finished at the earliest. So yeah, that's a lot of time down the drain. I don't just build giant symmetrical boxes like some other people do, not to name any names, which really leads to no additional practical utility, and just makes them take like 20 times as long to build. So there's a little bit of a value proposition there. Alright, give me something to read. Hey now, this is not a corporate merger, okay? I have a command economy, right? That means that all enterprises are owned by the people, and I am the people. Corporate mergers come in many forms, and this one happens to be a hostile takeover. I have no hostility in my heart. I believe I've said that before, and I'll say it again. The Lightning Hoods, under the guidance of the 13 sages, have decided it would be better for them to serve under you than to be eradicated. Always looking for the best angle to keep themselves above water, they have lashed themselves onto a shooting star that is looking to show no end to its dedicated path. Yet that doesn't fit terribly well with my lore. They're going to the gulag. And with that, we will have a moment of peace and quiet, but probably just a moment. Okay, the Valkyrie has snuck up on us, as it is quite fast. For a second I thought this was a torpedo, which was surprising because I don't think it carries torpedoes, and that does indeed seem to be the case. However, no, it does not look like I have done damage yet. I thought this sort of thing was fixed by now, where it's much harder to do yourself damage with missiles than it used to be. But it looks like that might still be the case, although it might have to do with how these are launched. Maybe hard for me to tell where these blocks came from. It looks like around here. Sneaky little laser warner. So maybe it just has to do with it getting launched at a little bit too low of an angle, making it do thump damage to itself. Well, let's see what happens. Actually, I should show off the stats first. Lots of missile firepower. It should have APS firepower. I have noticed that my game has had issues displaying APS firepower, that if there's no shell loaded, it will no longer display it, even for constant firing APS guns. So we'll see if we take damage or not. Well, that's not working. I've already lost track of the Valkyrie's missiles. Oh, here they are. We have done them pathetic amounts of damage with our missile interceptors. We can lock onto it because I paused the game. Battle finished. I could pull out of the way, but let's see how much damage they do. That's not so bad, given that we're made out of wood. I mean, what did we need all of this for anyway? Yeah, too bad I missed the damage to the Valkyrie, but it didn't destroy this. We just had a missing boat in our fleet to begin with. But a lot of the easier White Flares craft, actually even a lot of the more difficult ones, are absolute glass cannons. Alright, this is a lot of boats. A lot of boats. I'm not even sure what these all are, but it's a lot of boats. I am certain that they had stockpiled a lot of resources there at some point. Oh man, they're not even balled up into a fleet to make it easy to see what's in them. Well, hey, they've got a submarine. I do want to have non-submarine, so I'm toning back on the submarines because they can't really fight back against it. I just needed them for the Lightning Hoods. But I still have an extremely significant percentage of my fleet cost in submarines. So, oh, I might not get the Golden Trench without killing the Twin Guard for it later. Well, that was sort of inevitable. So I'm either going to be deconstructing some of the submarines over time, or I'll have to wait until the enemy slowly shift them out. It doesn't look like that'll happen. I might deconstruct them once I have my next ships built. Alright, I think that's enough from the depths for one episode. As far as the Livewood series is concerned, this will be somewhat of a short one, although it's hard for me to tell how short, as I have recorded just under an hour of footage divided between building and the combat portion. And the building will be replayed at double speed in a separate episode from the combat, so probably 2 20-minute videos, but we'll see. Anyway, it's a natural stopping point. Oh wow, I did not expect the Sin Eater to win there. It was against the Twin Guard opponent. Because we've killed the Lightning Hoods, I'm going to pause before we get into a fight with the Sin Eater. And we are about to get into large-scale fleet battles with the White Flares. I've also finished the infrastructure updates on my end, sort of building the required components in order to start the next vehicle. I have the incredibly clumsy APS turret that I've built. It will be fairly effective as far as wood turrets go, although somewhat suspect in some ways. The efficiency isn't bad though. I've only a little bit of dead space, only slight imbalances. For just quickly slapping a turret together, it's pretty good. And you'll also see a fuel engine that I've built that I believe bears incredible similarities to fuel engines that other people have built. I'll be pointing those out when we are in the actual build series, because I think it's the natural way to build a small turbocharger engine. I don't think that there is another way to build one other than making small tweaks, but the general sort of topology of it, the way that the things connect to each other, or which things connect to which other things, well, those will all be the same. And in the next series, I'll start putting it together into a bigger craft, probably, or next series, the next episode, I'll start putting it together into a bigger craft, probably a battleship. We'll see. Due to how wood floats, I'll probably, and I already have all of the basic Lego blocks put together to build a battleship, other than a few things that I might want to do, like putting shields projectors inside of the turrets. It's basically just going to be Legos. It's just going to be stapling all of the big blocks together and then throwing a massive wooden hole around it. So hopefully that'll only take one episode to build. Well, that's all for today. I hope you've enjoyed watching, and I will see you in the future.